Greetings, I'm Rob Chappers. Wry smile, sense of excitement. Look at you wonderful, beautiful creatures out there. I could just hug you all. Today, I'm making a really exciting video about how to edit videos, or how I make my videos, something that I've been asked how to do a lot by my digital friends out there, talking to you. So let me show you what I do. It all starts in the setup. So basically, editing a video kicks off in choosing a direction in the room in which you'd like to shoot, the kind of ambience, the kind of sort of je ne sais quoi, what you'd like to see, the lighting. For example, if I shoot this direction, the backdrop will be amplifiers, kind of gear oriented, might be kind of cool for gear fans. If I shoot in this corner, I'll have a white wall in the background that's good for putting shots. Well, I'll show you a shot like this. So in the corner here, for example, you'll see there could be an added shot of a close-up of something else, which can be good for PEL demonstrations or adding a logo. I'm using lighting, any kind of light. You need as much light as is humanly possible. Basically, the more light, the crisper the image, the better it's going to look, and the more options you have to edit. When you do so do later on in your editing software programmables, you'll find it easier if you have a lot of light in the shot. So whatever you do, don't start off in a dark room and then go to edit and go, oh no, what have I done? Been there a few times. Now here I have a really nice rug that I recently purchased and I'm very pleased with. In fact, I bought two, but they wouldn't both fit in the room. So to dampen the rest of the room, I've got blankets, which I'm going to fold out and cover up any available surface that needs covering. I have often thought about hanging them from this beam as well, because I think that would be a good idea to cut down noise until I actually get hold of some soundproofing stuff that Dave is gonna give me, because the Cove is moving, which would be great, bass traps, etc. But basically, if you're in a big room, put down soft stuff in the corners to make bass traps, just improvise, pillows, whatever you got, and blankets on the floor. Just cover anything that might be reflective and get rid of those reflections. Audio reflections, not visual. What's my hand doing? So think things through. What do you want the viewer to see? How do you want the end result to look before you shoot? For example, do I want a treasure chest and rubber swords? Do I want a small shell chest containing mystery wonders? Do I want abstract blue art? All these things must be considered. Chappers, please tell me, what cameras do you use? Yes, SLR cameras, Canon mostly, another SLR camera, I use 50mm, I use all sorts of lenses, but mostly I use this, which I find tremendously useful, really sharp, very simple to use. It's the good old trusty HC V750, brilliant name. The audio is really good, I think. The visual is fantastic. Everything you need, it's really simple. You flip it open and it tells you it's run out of batteries. Well, almost, no card. Look, videoing a video, which is videoing. Has that ever been done before? I don't know, but it's exciting. Sometimes, should I require, I just use a trusty old iPhone. It's important to have a sticker on the back and make sure that it runs out of batteries even when it says it has lots of charge. Apple. Capturing audio in a tiny Focusrite box. I use this box. I use one microphone. It's an SM, it's a Shure. Actually, this is a 58. I've taken the end off. Sometimes I prefer the sound of a 58 with the end off to the other alternative that you'll all be familiar with. This red box that Dave owns is exactly the right height, literally, to line up perfectly with the speaker, and it pleases me so. Here's my massively cluttered desktop. I use a very simple application called Garageband. The simpler, the better. Of course, you could use anything you want to use. So here's my really simple GarageBand project. Of course, you could use any app you want, as long as you export something like an AIF or a WAV or whatever. I'm just going to delete these tracks. They're of no use to me. Track, delete. And then I'm going to make a new track, but it's going to be what they call a real instrument. You see that? So I'll select that. So then this, I'm going to make sure that in my preferences is set up so that I'm using the output from the Mac so I can take a listen back, and I'm using the Scarlett for the input. Now, you might just have to check sometimes if you're using a Mac that the system preferences have also done that in the sound here. So input is definitely the Scarlett, and output is definitely the internal speakers. Good, all done, well done. Next, it's really simple with the Scarlett. I just turn this knob while I'm playing and it'll flash green or red. So it's a really simple visual indicator of whether or not you're getting enough input or too much input. I really like that, and so did Misha Mansur from Periphery. He knows what he's talking about. So that's a thing now. So you can do that thing with this particular interface from Focusrite, which we like. So that clap is to make sure that on the editing software I can see the audio for my camera and also the audio for the microphone, and I can line the little spike that the clap made up with each other so that the two are kind of in sync. You're going to get some phasing, but it'll basically be in sync, and that means that if I'm using other microphones, they can be synchronized. It makes life much easier. This was the setup I went with. Now I'm doing Moog pedals, so I put them on this handy stand next to me. I think this is a nice backdrop, looks all kind of fun and full of gear, people like gear. There's my laptop doing its thing in the corner. I've just finished recording it, so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Share, export the song. I'm not going to compress it, and I'm going to export it uncompressed, and I'm just going to save it. So, welcome to my office and something I've just invented, which is Chest, or something else, Cam. I don't like it when you record direct from the screen because the quality, I don't like it. I think it's bad quality. And also, it doesn't seem real because I want to have my hands in shot and sort of show you things in a real way. So I prefer to have two cameras. So here's a kind of an innovation of mine that I've just come up with. Actually, it's completely not in the way as well, which is kind of exciting. Anyway, on the timeline, what you can see is A cam. I've got B cam here, and all I've done is I've got the audio that I recorded below it. Now I'm going to sync them. If you remember correctly, I did a clap sync at the beginning, which I'm going to do with these two cameras now. And I should really do it in the middle of the two cameras so that the sound waves hit the cameras at the same time, but whatever. And on the timeline, just down here, you can see, if I zoom in really deeply, that's the first clap, and that's the second clap right there. Now, on the video, it's in a different place. It's here and here. You can see little me clapping. So all I'm going to do is grab the audio, shift it along so that the two claps line up, and now I'm synchronized. And I'm going to do that as best as I can. So I zoom in really close. And to make this easier, I've boosted the volume by 12 decibels. If I put it down to sort of 0, it isn't so easy to notice that's a clap. On the line, it doesn't really look much like a clap. So boost it by 12, it's way more obvious. And there it is. And now that's synchronized the two claps. So I can just, I don't know why, it's a bit of a habit, I chop this bit off. It's a magnetic timeline, Final Cut Pro X, so if I grab a bit of video and blade it, it all zooms back, you'll know this. So yeah, there you go, the audio is now synchronized. Let's crack on with the edit. I really enjoy this process. Obviously, if I didn't, I wouldn't have made over 3,000 videos. So the first part of the video on my timeline is actually the video that you will have heard earlier of me telling you that I'm doing a clap sync. It's weird, I'm editing a video of me teaching you to edit video in this video where I'm teaching you to edit video. So I'm chopping that off, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to whack it on my how to edit a video timeline. and all will be good. So I'm working between two timelines, which is a bit of an unusual thing for me. So I've got the Moog video here, and then the how to make a video here, and there's the little clap sync part. Software, I can see that you've already seen. Back to the Moog timeline. Now I've dropped in camera A and the audio. I'm now going to add on the B cam footage and synchronize that. And again, what I did here is I clap synced, so I've got B cam clap spikes. I'm going to synchronize them with the microphone, not cam A, because I want the audio to match. No, it doesn't really matter as much with B cam because it's just a still shot of me and the pedals. So There you go. So that's the B cam synchronized with A cam and with the audio. Now I get my spoken audio, you hearing me talk, from the camera microphone. I actually kind of find them fine. So I've got an option here. I can either use the audio from cam A, which was in front of me but kind of far away, or the audio from camera B, which was to the side of me but much closer, and I'm going to listen to which one I prefer. So both of them are, I'm going to set this to 0, so go to audio and 0 it, make sure they're both the same volume level, because the ear tends to prefer things that are actually louder. It just likes volume. I'm going to kill camera B and just take a listen to some of me talking. No, that's just me whistling. Signal is heard. Well, let's start with the down position. So that's camera A. Let's take a listen to camera B doing pretty much the same thing. Warmth is increased, and in the up position, vibrato, only the wet signal. And do that again. Well, let's start with the down. It's brighter with A cam, darker with B cam, and you can tell because it's to one side that it's to one side. So I'm just going to get rid of the audio from the B cam, disregard it, detach it, and I'm just going to delete it. It's a waste of space, literally. Not required in this edit. So I do hope you're finding this useful. It's an interesting journey for me. This is a lot of stuff that I do completely subconsciously now. In fact, it used to be the case that I'd edit like this, must make video content, and then the Mac would have to catch up with me. Not because it was slow, but because I was so fast at doing the job that it just became part of what I do. So the audio, let me just kill the audio from A-cam, take a listen to some of the loud audio from my microphone. Now I've boosted it by 12, so of course it's peaking, being a little biatch. So let's have a listen to it at 0. Sounds good. By the way, you'll notice I'm not wearing headphones. Ordinarily, I do wear headphones, but I tend to make the first check without headphones because the end user, actually I know exactly what they're using because I get given demographics on YouTube to see what people are using to watch these videos through. They tend to be using an iPhone and they tend to be using a laptop and nowadays sometimes an iPad. So I listen to the audio through a laptop to give me a really good indicator of what the average person will be listening to, because of course you're not going to get the bass frequencies through a laptop that you would through a set of headphones, and if you optimize it for really good headphones, sometimes it's not great through an iPhone. So it's a little bit of a mixing, matching kind of way of working. Bit of a pain in the arse. I wish everyone listened and watched through exactly the same medium, but they don't. Now I blend the audio. I use a little bit of the remote microphone from the camera, and I use a little bit of, well, a lot of the Shure. So what I'm going to do is just slightly back off the cab mic. I'm just going to drop it down by about 5 dB. And what I'll do is I'm going to duck the ambient mic when I'm playing, so that you get about -8 to 10 dB of the ambient mic, and you get a blend of the two. It should sound really cool. So let me give you an example of that right now. All you do is you hover over the audio line, press Alt and click, in my case anyway, just to find a bit of this. Go to the end of it. It was a lot of playing. Okay, see, I'm so used to looking at my audio now that I can tell when I'm talking. So this is me talking, and this is me playing. I can tell by looking at it the difference between the two. So I'm going to double click there, and then I'm going to drop this by about 10 dB. So now I think this is going to sound kind of nice. And you'll notice here I have a set of meters, the inspector that shows me the volume that's going out, and I don't want it to peak, but I want it to be loud enough that people enjoy the volume when they're in their bedrooms playing it kind of quietly. So I just turned the laptop mic down, speakers down, so that I'm listening to it at an average volume. And it's hovering at around about -4. So I could do with putting it up a little bit. So I'm actually going to put up the cab mic to about -3. And I'll crank the ambient to about -7. Because it's lead phrasing too. Lead playing tends to be much quieter than full-on smacking a chord. Just interesting things for you. So the first thing is the greeting. Greetings! That's how I do my greeting. Everyone has a different kind of greeting. It's important to stick with your greeting so it becomes part of your brand, I've been told. I'm not sure whether that's a real thing or not. What's not good to do is this. So I'll set it to just before I do my greeting, and watch this. That's a bit awkward. You don't want to kind of greetings, because it looks like you're preparing and being ready. You want to get straight into the greeting as you start your video. So what I do is I look at the audio. In fact, I generally edit by looking at audio rather than video. And right there, on the money. Chop it down, chop it off. Greetings, and that's how we get the greeting. Now the audio underneath I don't need, but I can just leave it there because it's a thing, and that's cool to have a thing. Before I export, I'll be deleting all the audio that I don't need, just because it makes the speech clearer. I don't want to have a cab mic just hissing and kind of causing unnecessary bullshit underneath the video, so I'll get rid of that. So now I'd watch it through and see what I say and make sure there are no mistakes, yada yada yada. I'll do that for you now. Now we've got to the first section where I'm doing kind of a gag. Now, I'm a funny dude. I don't take myself seriously at all. You'll know this by now. And something I have learned over years of making videos is that people will tolerate average to poor video quality, but they will not tolerate average to poor audio quality. The human being needs good sound, go away fly, and likes good visual, but they need good sound more than good visual. That's been psychologically proven to be fact. And what people like is to have constant, exciting things firing off all the time to keep them mentally activated in today's world where you're pinned to this thing like this, and you've got games and everything all around you. You need to be, you know, sort of interested in what's going on. And on a video like this, it's really important that I keep people focused on the task and not distracted to look at their Facebook page or another YouTube video, and so they look at this YouTube video. So here are some of the things I do. Audio samples are absolutely key. I can't even tell you how useful they are in keeping people interested in the video. For example, recently I made a documentary. You may have seen it. And I spent the majority of my time on that documentary editing the audio, not the video, because I was looking for things that just captured the feeling of the road trip. And if you get the wrong piece of music or the wrong piece of audio, it will completely ruin a video. In Hearthstone, when you first look for an opponent, it does this gut thing, and most of you will know about that. Now, what would be really cool is to record the phone and get the actual sound, but I've got a channel of 300 and something thousand subscribers. People keep an eye on me, and Hearthstone owns that audio, so I can't really do that. What I do is I use a really, really cool company, and it's called audioblocks.com. Here it is. And Audioblocks, it's a royalty-free millions and millions and millions of downloads, and what's really cool is it's really quick to use. I can literally hover over something, and it'll just start to play. Or maybe this. Or maybe this. Or maybe this. So useful. I use that so many times for things like my explosion. For audio underneath sort of sweep overs, for example, with the Moog pedals, which is what I'm editing right now in this video. I can't just have static shots of the Moog pedals and me playing guitar, because sometimes that gets a little bit boring. And also I have this feeling that if you're seeing a product and hearing somebody play but you're not seeing the person play, people don't like that difference. They want to see the product and have background music. And also, I tend to talk a lot in product demonstrations, and people get bored if there's nothing ambiently playing behind the speech of a person when they're demonstrating something. We don't do it in Andertons, but I'm tending to do it more and more and more. Just find music from audio blocks. Check it out. It's really good. You can get a free account, 7 days, thousands and thousands of things to download. They're really cool, like action film stuff. Or I could search for something like gears. So, for example, I want gears for this worthy opponent section. Well, they've got hundreds of samples of gears, so I can just find one that works perfectly for me. And actually, the first one I go on is pretty much perfect. Actually, gears and sprockets sounds a bit kind of cooler, so I think I'm going to use that one. But as you can see, literally hundreds and hundreds of samples of just gears. So that's really useful. I'm going to use gears and sprockets. All I do is I click on WAV, and it's just immediately downloaded the WAV file straight to my computer. And now I'm going to use that on my video. Thank you very much. So here's my gears and sprockets WAV file. I'm just going to grab it, drag it onto the timeline underneath the music, and then we have sync it all up, make it look nice. I'm actually going to fade it in slightly, and I'm going to chop it here, get rid of this bit, fade it out before I say worthy opponent, and I'm going to drop the volume by about 6 dB. Take a listen. We have worthy opponent. And the rule of thumb is if it makes me laugh, it's the right thing to have done. Moog pedals. Now, I said Moog pedals and it was like a worthy opponent thing. I wanted yeah, so let's have a look for a yeah thing. And it's all about making it fun. If it's not fun and continually involving of an audience, then they're probably going to watch something else. So let's look for cheer or cheers. Crowd cheers and whistles. Perfect, that's all I need. I'm going to download the WAV file. There it is, done. By the way, iTunes automatically plays anything you download. It's a real pain in the ass. And here it is again. Crowds, cheers. So I'll be going back to audio blocks in a minute to get some background music for when I'm just bantering about the pedals and doing that kind of thing, because it could be a bit boring for people that don't have a long attention span. Again, I'm going to drop it down about 6 dB. Make sure it's in the right place. Opponent Moog pedals. I have 2 of them today. And it's short. For some reason, that makes it funnier. Here's the whole section we just edited. Some gear. Today we have worthy opponent Moog pedals. I have 2 of them today. There you go. That's how I do that kind of vibe. I've got a chorus and I've got a flange. Here are the boxes they come in. And you know they're serious because look at the tech inside the box. Now, look at the tech inside the box is kind of a cool phrase. The inside of the box is full of circuitry. I want a kind of high-tech sound effect to go underneath. Okay, so this is absolutely perfect. It's called Scientific Futuristic Ambience. Download that WAV file. I can't praise audio blocks enough, really. Go and use it if you're serious about using audio and videos. Anyway, that's the audio that I needed to get. So now let me show you what we've just edited as one piece and just see how the audio adds an extra sort of third dimension to everything that goes on in the video. Do an awesome review of some awesome gear. Today we have worthy opponent Moog pedals. I have 2 of them today. Both come in. And you know they're serious because look at the tech inside the box. Look at all the wiring and circuitry diagrams. Really ties the whole thing together. Now, sometimes when I'm doing a demonstration, I can't remember everything, but I want to pretend that I can remember everything because it's funny. It's another kind of a way of a gag. So, for example, here, I decided to pretend that I knew everything about the spec of this particular pedal. Behind the sort of the sleek black exterior hides things like... Things like what, Rob? Exponentiated triangle bipolar additive low frequency oscillators. Of course I'd know that. I wouldn't know that at all. But here's the bit where I'm looking up on a book what it says. I'm just going to delete that. It never happened. Now listen to the audio and don't look at the video. It hides things like exponentiated triangle bipolar additive low frequency oscillators. And all I'm going to do is cover that up with a bit of the old B camera footage. Because of course B-cam is a static camera that can be put anywhere. Actually, I've now realised that rather than using that static B-cam footage, what I need is a manual handheld sweep of the product, so I'm going to go and find me one of they. So my sweeps are clip number 13. I'm going to grab it, drag it onto the timeline. I don't need any of the audio, so I'm going to detach audio, delete the audio, and I did it on a couple of different surfaces. I did it on the wood, which is kind of nice. By the way, sometimes I'll do a lot of editing in fast forward. If I'm really in a hurry for a deadline, I'm able to hear what's being spoken in fast forward, and I very rarely make a mistake when I'm shooting a video. I tend to do it in one take now, so I'll scream through, and if I make a mistake when I'm shooting, I do this, and I'll see on the video that I've made a mistake because I'm doing this. And now I have to remember to not think that I've made a mistake when I'm editing the video of me doing this. So there's the wooden floor, and then I've got it on a carpet as well, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to use this clip of them on the carpet looking cool. I've changed my mind. I'm doing the clip of them on the floor. Yeah, that's nice. Something to remember about Final Cut Pro is that things go where you tell them to go. So this footage currently is on the lower level. I haven't raised it above, so if I paste it onto the timeline, it's going to occupy the lower level. So I need to click on it, right click on it, and then I need to lift from storyline so it's above. Then I can cut it and stick it where I need to put it. There are lots of shortcuts, none of which I really normally use. And there you go. Here is my little B-cam clip. It's going to totally hide all the crap I did before. Being serious now. They've done it. From there. That's nice. I'm going to fade it in and fade it. Not fade it out, but I'm going to fade it in. So here are my fades. I use a cross dissolve, drag it onto the clip, get rid of that one, so it cuts straight to me pretending I know. And then here we go, once it's rendered. Boom. They've done it. They've been there. Behind the sort of the sleek black exterior hides things like exponential. Now you'll see that I did one sweep and then kind of recalibrated myself and did a second sweep, and it didn't look good. So I'm taking it from the second sweep. So from here. I don't like it when transitions are too long. It looks a little bit kind of love story, so I'm going to change the duration of my fade in to about 8. That'll do, and now it looks like this. The sleek black exterior hides things like exponentiated triangle bipolar additive low frequency oscillators. And that's a kind of humorous speech I learned from watching other YouTube videos. And it's just a cool trick. It's all tricks to make the video watchable and enjoyable, and I really hope that you enjoy learning them. So I'm off to find some ambient background music for the chat, and then I'm going to chop up the guitar parts, duck all the audio, synchronize it all together, and end up with a really cool video that you can watch after I've uploaded this video of me making that video. I hope this process was of any interest to you at all. By the way, in this room, I'm lit in 2 different ways. I'm lit in this corner by just a regular lamp, which is a bit yellow. And in this corner, because this is quite a small room, in this room I'm using a light, but I've shined it against the wall, and it's the wall reflecting onto me to make me look lit. That's my world. Lights shining off of walls. Take it easy, guys. Enjoy making videos. I do. Chappers, considerably out.